sarong is a sacred outfit, which is part of the Balinese culture. But I wear it in my own way. This is not the correct way to wear it, but I just was inspired by how the people in Bali wear their sarongs, and I started wearing it like this. And in order to be able to enter a temple, you have to cover below the knee to enter the temple. If you have it like here, you can't. It has to be below. And a sarong is a representation of sacredness. As you can see in this tree here, follow me, you will see that this tree has also a type of sarong. It's like a cloth that covers the tree. What does that mean? That means this tree is sacred. That means there's spirits attached to the tree. That means there's gods attached to the tree. Why? Look at these god statues around. There's Barongs here. And Barong is the god of, as I mentioned before, the god of all good spirits. And it is viewed as one of the main gods, if not the king of the spirits, which represents good deeds and anything that's not evil. And here we're going to see the entrance again here. So this is the entrance of this kind of temple, which also, the temple itself, as you can see, have a sarong, which is in the check clothing that has the black and white in the check pattern. That's also sacred. That's why it has a sarong around it. So both the tree and the temple, they both have the cloth around it. And we're gonna go and see some of the other beautiful statues and carvings of the Balinesian temples, because I'm so fascinated. I think they're quite amazing, and I think I've had an incarnation before, and they resonate with me so much, and I don't know why, but I found them beautiful. If I look at this door here, this is the door to the entrance of the temple. It has also other deities, other gods. Here, these are the griffins, which are the creatures that have human heads and animal bodies. And these creatures, you can find them in all across cultures around the world, in ancient cultures, Egyptian cultures, Sumerian cultures. You find griffins everywhere, and they have them here in Asia as well. You find the face of Barong here as well. That's another Barong, but in a griffin shape again. It's like half animal with the head. Now I want you to look up there and see how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful those carvings are. Now that figure, which is the Barong figure, which I have here on my ring, does not look quite necessarily friendly. It doesn't look friendly, it looks kind of scary, it looks like a demon. Yet, it represents good. It represents protection, it represents help, it represents guidance. And it's the king of all spirits, of all good spirits. Because his counterpart is Rangda, and she's the queen of bad spirits. But that just shows me that don't be fooled by the appearances. Something that looks kind of scary doesn't mean it's evil. Maybe it's actually the good thing. So be careful of the appearances. That's the lesson that I learned from that. And it's just quite fascinating. And a lot of people say that Barong is represented by like the face of a lion, because the lion in the jungle is the king of the animals, and it represents strength and just power. But for me, when I see Barong, I see a reptile. I see the face of a dragon. I see the face of a reptilian. I see the face of something that's similar to a snake, or something similar to a salamander or a lizard. That's how I see it, which kind of relates to some of the ancient alien theories about the reptilians who are on Earth. Now this is part of the Balinesian religion, when we say that Barong is the king of the spirits and the king of like their main god. But now if you're religious, you're going to believe in that, right? If you're part of the Hindu Balinesian religion, you're going to believe in that. Otherwise, if you're a foreigner, if you're foreign to this, you're going to say it's a myth. But what if it's real? What if that figure right there, what if it was actually something that was real, that existed and that looked exactly like that. Come with me, I'm going to show you more other interpretations of Barong. Look at this beautiful, 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 beautiful door here. Look. And again, you see Barong's face at the top. Huge, huge, huge carving. Can you show please the top? Look at the top. And then these are other two statues protecting. And I want you to zoom, if you come here and just show from this angle how beautiful this looks like. And all the dogs are barking because we're probably talking here. And they're barking because they're trying to chase us. And we're gonna maybe go here to again see how beautiful. Again, these doors represent the entrance to temples. We can't enter the temples right now because actually most of the time only the Hindu people, only the people who worship and who practice the religion, only them can enter certain part of the temples. The temples, as you can see from this angle here, are so beautiful, but unfortunately we can't go in. But let's go and see the door again of that temple. Here you see other gods, statues that are represented with monkeys. So they're like god monkeys as well. So come with me here. We're gonna go again to that door over there. There's other statues and other gods represented there. And a lot of these over there, you see Barong as well. And a lot of these deities, what's fascinating to me about them is that they're always like half human, half animal. And this correlates with what we see in ancient Egypt. You have Thoth, who has the head of a bird. You have Horus, who have the head of a bird. You see this in the Sumerian culture, in their religion. There's a lot of deities that have the head of animals. And if this is across all ancient cultures around the world and ancient myths around the world, doesn't that mean that there's some truth to it? The Greeks too. They have centaurs and half creatures, half humans that are gods. Or some of them say that they're hybrids, they're half gods, half humans. So there's a lot of mystery and fascination about these cultures, and it blows my mind. I love it so much. Look how huge that tree is. That tree must be at least 300 years. Look how huge the trunk of the tree. That's why another beautiful, beautiful aspect of the Balinesian Hindus is that they acknowledge and they appreciate nature like that. They don't touch it, they put a temple around it, and they appreciate it. They give offerings to it, and they pray to it. And when we think about it, why not pray to it? The tree has been here for 300 years. Don't you think it has a spirit? Don't you think it's alive? Of course we should pray to it. And here's another door. It's a little bit redundant here, but it's the same beautiful sculptures. It fascinates me how they make this straight from stone. They carve by hand from stone all of those details. It's amazing. And one thing that I need to mention, I can't touch these statues because they actually consider them as their gods. They consider that each statue is alive and have spirits attached to it. And if you touch it, it's not sacred anymore, so you can't touch this. So for people who visit here, stop touching the statues. You don't touch them because they're very sacred. Another Barong here, a protector. And this beautiful door here, that's made out of wood, not stone. The doors are usually made out of wood, and they have beautiful carvings into them. Look at the carvings. And if you can show all the way up how it's built, how it's going up with all the steps, it's just so beautiful. So two things about the Balinesian Hindu culture is the belief in spirits and the appreciation of nature. Everywhere you go, there's nature. Nature everywhere, and the appreciation of the unseen. They believe in the unseen. Not like us in the West. We make fun of it. They believe in it and they know it's real, and they pray to it because it can actually help you. If you believe in it and if you can see it, and I can see it, and I know it's real. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, you can believe me or not, I had a vision of the Barong. It showed up right in front of my eyes as I was awake. I had a visit from Barong, and it looked exactly like that thing you see out there on the door. And I am looking for what's the connection, but I know there's a huge correlation. I know there's something, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, because I know a lot of you out there are going to be as fascinated as me with this stuff. So we're going to go right now to another temple, and we're going to show you. Look at the doggy, he's watching us. He's like, what are you guys doing here? Alright, we're going to show you something else cool. Come. So I talked about Barong and how he's the protector, how he's the good spirit, how he's the king of the spirits, and everyone worships him in Bali. But Barong has a counterpart, yin and yang. He's the protector, the preserver, and then he has a counterpart, and her name is Rangda. Rangda represents evil, destruction. Legends has it that she's an evil witch that practices black magic and that abducts babies and eats them. But this is just a folklore story. But the moral of the story is that in the Balinesian culture, they acknowledge good and bad, yin and yang. One doesn't exist without the other. So even for this evil spirit or evil entity, if you will, and her name is Rangda, they build statues for her and they worship her and they give her offerings as well to appreciate and acknowledge that evil and bad exists. And they do a lot of ceremonies in Bali to commemorate and to celebrate Barong and Rangda. And there's an interesting aspect about their stories that when Barong and Rangda fight, it means good versus evil, no one wins. So when they do ceremonies to represent that aspect, in the ceremony there's no winner. It's not like in the West where we always, in movies and in stories and in books and in novels, the good always wins. We say always good wins versus evil. Here, no one wins. Here, they're equal. They're the same. Same logo as the yin and yang. One drives the other, which I have it tattooed here to just remind myself that life will always have good and bad. To navigate life, you have just to acknowledge that there's going to be bad things that are going to happen to you, and you have to acknowledge them. So here I'm going to show you, follow me, I'm going to show you the statue of Rangda and how they think she looks like. She looks like this evil witch with it's depicted in different formats with a long tongue coming out of her mouth with huge nails and then huge breasts. I'm going to show you, just come with me. So if you can see here, so she looks pretty scary and freaky compared to Barong. Even Barong has I would say a non-friendly face, but Rangda's even scarier. And look at these cool details here. The eyes here, there's eyes there, which is quite interesting. And her hands are really freaky too, with like long nails. And here I'm going to show you another statue where she's also sometimes depicted with babies, with tiny babies, which means she abducts babies and eats them and nourishes herself from their blood. And also the tradition says that Rangda is the incarnation and the representation of Lord Shiva's wife. And Shiva is the god of destruction in Hinduism. He's one of the main gods of Hinduism. And it is said that it's one of his wives. It's one of the incarnation. This is another statue. You'll see this a lot in Bali, where she's depicted with huge breasts coming out like that from her chest. And with this one doesn't have a long tongue. So there's a lot of representations. Sometimes you're going to see her carrying babies. That's the thing. There's a lot of temples that are built for Rangda and for the evil spirits, for the bad ones, but you don't see them everywhere. The ones built for Barong and for the good ones, you'll find them more than the evil ones. So we so far came across 3 temples so far, only 3 in all Bali that have Rangda at the front, and this is one of them. So this is a hard find. You're not gonna find this everywhere in Bali. So if you guys are wondering, oh, I can't see this Rangda statue, why? Because it's rare. You're gonna have to look for these temples that have her statue. And also in ceremonies, what they do, they build a huge like kind of figure of her, and they burn it. So as a representation that they wanna burn the evil. But also the most popular ceremonies held in Bali are, they call them the dance of the Barong and Rangda. And it is said, the folklore says, which is quite interesting, that the people that play in the ceremonies, that play a Rangda, they end up becoming possessed by her, which is quite interesting. I don't know if it's just a trick of their own minds, but it is said that in the ceremonies she's present and she actually can possess the person who plays her role. But we're gonna try to film one of these ceremonies and share it with you guys, because we heard that these ceremonies are amazing. And again, it's just a reminder that this is life. Life is just an emulsion. It's an emulsion of feelings and emotions and experiences. And it's always good to remember and to acknowledge that there is good and bad, that there is dark and light. They coexist. No one is better than the other. And Barong and Rangda are representation of that. They both exist. No one wins. They always trigger each other. They always fight with each other. Not to say that we always have to fight evil. That's not what I'm trying to say. But just to acknowledge it. And maybe to transcend it and become better. To know that we can do better. By acknowledging evil, you can transcend it and be the bigger person and not vibrate at a lower frequency. You want to vibrate here. And when you start vibrating here, the stuff here won't touch you. It will not touch you. So you will look at the bad stuff happening, you will acknowledge it, you're not going to ignore it, but you will be here. And that's the moral of the story. But I wanted to share this with you because it's fascinating. I have never seen a culture that acknowledges good and evil at the same time equally. In the West, it's never like that. It's never like that, and I don't know why. There's something to learn for sure from this. This is a cemetery that's right beside the temple. The temple, and those are actually graves right there. And there's a beautiful view, a lot of nature as usual everywhere you go in Bali. The other temple that had Rangda at the front was also so secluded. It was so secluded, and the only times, again, we found Rangda's statues for worship were in secluded places. And actually, I want to mention something else, because she's represents, they call her the evil witch that practice dark magic. A lot of locals, a lot of Balinesians still practice dark magic. They do. They believe in it, and it's part of their worship to the evil spirits. So again, it's not only the representation of her, but it's some people actually worship that. And it doesn't mean that it's bad or good. Again, don't get the wrong idea. In the West, when we say, oh, they worship Satan, Satan this, Satan that. First of all, who is even Satan? Because sometimes we don't know the origin of the story, and we end up just making things up that don't make any sense. The more you know, the less scared you're going to be of these myths. The more you have knowledge, the more you're going to become wise, understand why these things existed and who is Satan, right? Not just believe that Satan is evil or Satan is this or Satan is that. Don't get me wrong, I don't worship anyone. For me, I'm not a Satan worshiper, but I'm just saying people start just making up things that don't make any sense. So people here worship these evil entities. They do dark magic. Many times we would see people making huge fires, rituals, that we will see them randomly in rice fields. And it's not to scare you, because you will only get to see this stuff if you walk, by the way. Because we noticed a lot of foreigners in Bali don't walk, they all bike. We don't bike. We've been here for a few months now. We never bike. Because first of all, why do you want to bike? You're wasting so much heavenly goodness all around you. Number two, you're just polluting the environment. And number three, it's good for your health. So walking, it's just beneficial anyways. No matter how you think about it, walking is good for you. And then you get to explore these things. If you bike all the time, you're never going to see these rituals of these fires. But they do exist. And people believe that if they pray to the spirits, to the evil spirits, and if they want to, for example, cast a spell on someone, they believe it's going to work. But the same for the good ones, same of people who pray to Barong or to Ganesha, they believe that these spirits are going to help them too, or going to protect them. So they coexist. And yet Bali is one of the most peaceful islands in the world. So acknowledging that and just knowing that's how life is my message here, and that's pretty much it for now.